Hi, it's Michael Caputo here on Still Standing. You can catch up to our podcast, stillstandingpodcast.com. There's some video there, there's some audio there, a lot of blogging. That's where you can catch me when you don't catch me on CNN or Fox or MSNBC. I'm just getting back in town from, actually Puerto Rico. I was down there working. I'm sick as a dog. Somebody on the plane on the way down got me a little sick. This head cold's going around, so you gotta forgive me. Just got off the plane, and this BuzzFeed story is going nuts. I think it's hilarious. BuzzFeed trying to be legitimate. They've always been fighting for legitimacy, and the problem is this guy Anthony, Cromier or whatever, the investigative reporter at BuzzFeed News, he's been wrong about these stories in the past, and here we've come to find out this big story where he says that two law enforcement sources who are close to the investigation are telling him that Donald Trump instructed Michael Cohen to lie. Now, and would lie to Congress about the timing of, I guess, the Moscow Tower project. First of all, it's BuzzFeed, so you got to disregard it, or at least wait for a more reputable source, at least one reputable source. Secondly, you got to understand, that's not how law enforcement officials work. When they have a blockbuster story, they don't risk their careers by going to BuzzFeed News. They go to the New York Times or the Washington Post or, ABC, CNN, even Fox. They don't go to BuzzFeed News. That's just not the way these guys work. Secondly, my understanding from some reporting out of OAN, I saw Jack Posobiec's Twitter feed, the story is kind of based on what looks to be internal talking points that came from Trump Tower that were going around among staff as to what the timing of this or that was during the whole Moscow Tower negotiations. Now, I got to tell you, I don't believe this Moscow Tower was ever really going to happen. I don't believe the president ever thought it was really going to happen. Michael Cohen had a habit in Trump Tower of taking on big projects, trying to bring in the big score. There are a lot of people who worked inside Trump Tower with, with skin in the game, who were trying to get out there and get big deals in Chicago and overseas and all over the place. That's how you see the Trump name on all these towers around the world. They're trying to get the big deal, so that, because they all were incentivized by a piece of the project. And Michael Cohen kept trying to get big deals and failing. He wasn't a big producer at the Trump organization. The real producers, you don't even know their names. They're real estate people. Michael Cohen was not a real estate person. He was a lawyer who was inside Trump Tower, representing the president, Donald J. Trump, before he was president of the United States. That was his job. He wanted in on those big deals because he wanted to have some kind of big score, but wasn't any good at it. I don't remember hearing of any big tower that he ever got involved in. The Moscow Tower was something that fell into his lap because he grew up in an area of New York City that was populated by Russian emigres, and his buddy, I guess Felix Sater, who'd been in and out of Trump Tower in the past, been involved in failed deals in the past, brought to him the idea of, hey, now that he's running for president, we should build a tower in Moscow. It's like, it reminds me of Our Gang, it's like, or, some of the old movies. My daddy's got a barn, let's have a show. I don't believe it, not for a minute. And from my perspective, Cromier and BuzzFeed are the least reputable sources you can believe in. And by the way, apparently these BuzzFeed people didn't even see the proof, the evidence that allegedly two, law enforcement officials close to the investigation gave them. These stories tend to fall apart. They turn to dust in about a week. That's why everybody who's reporting on this is crediting it to BuzzFeed, and even in their headlines are saying things like, BuzzFeed, if it's true, because it's not true. You're not going to find it true. And this just feeds the establishment resistance narrative. You see Chuck Schumer out there already talking about it, and Chairman Schiff over at the House Intelligence Committee. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Well, good luck with that. I think Mueller's already gotten to the bottom of this, and none of this has been charged, and none of this has been talked about. There's got nothing to it. I believe that if there was something to it, we'd have seen it by now out of Mueller. Mueller is going to have his report out, I hear, soon. Not sure if it's going to be soon, But just about anything that could be found on the President of the United States is going to be in that report. They've had over a dozen investigators and a dozen prosecutors, most of them Democrats, totally motivated by, trying to make their bones at the Department of Justice. FBI agents abound in that whole office over on Freedom Plaza. Those are, I guess, Patriot Plaza, I forget, somewhere in Washington, D.C. and just off Capitol Hill. Real investigators, people with real experience, real solid FBI agents, real solid people out of the investigators out of the DOJ. And if they don't find it, Schiff ain't going to find it, Warner ain't going to find it, House and Senate, they may go out there and try and harass Donald Trump and continue to investigate him to slow down his agenda. But let me tell you something. If you're banking on this BuzzFeed story, you're naive. That's what you are. I'm Michael Caputo. This is Still Standing. Check us out at stillstandingpodcast.com. I'm going to go take some cold medicine. Have a great weekend.